It's too many YouTube videos on here telling you here's what you need to do if you want to be unrecognizable in 2020 XYZ. Maybe instead of trying to become unrecognizable this year, the goal is just to explore yourself further and see what areas and aspects of your being you haven't tapped into yet. Hello, angels. Let's get comfortable. I know that as I was going into the new year, I think everyone does this when they're going into the new year. They're setting all these goals. They want to be the best version of themselves in 2025. I really started the year really hot and really heavy, and I was so consistent towards my goals and I was going hard. But by like month 2 or 3, I started to fall off a bit. I wasn't as consistent. I started to skip some days in the gym. I wasn't uploading on YouTube every single week. I wasn't eating right all the time. Like I was spending more money than I said I wanted to spend. Why did I fall off after those 2-3 months? And I realized that it was because I was just too focused on the end goal of having X amount of subscribers and making X amount of money, that I wasn't focused on the journey and what I needed to do today to get to that longer lead goal. And looking back, I really think I was just so angry at myself. I was so angry at who I was and the decisions that I had made, and I just hated all of the things wrong about me. I just wanted to be perfect. And I think the issue with that is that it creates some sort of like dissonance between who you are now and then the future version of you, when really you should be accepting yourself as you are now. Because how can I love myself enough to accept me, but also do what I need to do to step into the highest version of myself? Because I am currently the highest version of myself, just by default because of my presence. And when you start to think that way, you start to realize that you're not a project that always needs to be worked on. You're not a KPI that needs to be met. You're not a goal that just needs to be checked off the to-do list. Because the truth is that you're a human. You're learning and you're growing as you go. And as soon as you feel like you perfect one skill, another challenge is going to pop up that you're just not going to be good at. The target is simply unreachable. You'll never be this perfect version of yourself, and you really shouldn't strive to be, because that is just putting so much unnecessary pressure on yourself when you really should just be focused on who you are now and your strengths and the things that make you beautiful. And I think that's really my issue with like a lot of self-improvement YouTube channels and podcasts, because it constantly makes you feel like you're not enough. It constantly makes you feel like you're lacking in an area. It constantly makes you feel like you have to be wanting something and working towards something. Like it's insatiable. That thirst to like be better and reach this goal, it's never going to be quenched. I do have some tips if you feel like you're getting stuck in this pattern of setting a goal, not meeting it, falling off, and then beating up on yourself as if you're the worst person in the world. And the first tip that I'm going to give you is to take inventory and do a quick little assessment of who you are now currently in an accepting way and not being self-critical. Just be honest with yourself, but without that extra judgment that you're putting on yourself for no reason. So for example, you can love your body as it is now, but still know that, okay, I want to go to the gym more regularly on a more consistent basis so that I can achieve the body that I want. You're beautiful as you are now. You're perfect. You're perfect. Stop stressing. Stop acting like the little fupa is gonna kill you. You're good. Okay? You look amazing. As long as you are healthy, you look good. And honestly, even if you are unhealthy right now, just be grateful for your body and that it's been able to carry you as far as it has. Like, it's kept you safe, it's kept you standing, it's kept you going forward, it's kept you alive so far. So just like being grateful for that and saying, but you know what? Because I love myself, I'm going to go to the gym more regularly because I love me. My next tip would just be to focus on your daily intentions. I have such a problem with this. Like, I get so focused on the really big goals that I have. Like, I want to make $1 million, like that I'm so focused on that long-term goal that I'm not like, okay, what are the steps? What do I need to do today to slowly start marching towards making $1 million. You know, I'm not just gonna jump from making, say, 100,000 a year to $1 million. Like, there's a lot of work and intention and daily effort that it takes to get you to that financial goal. So what are you doing daily? You set a daily goal. You set a weekly goal. You set a monthly goal, and you regularly check in with yourself. Otherwise, you're just gonna be making things up as you go, and you're just gonna magically hope for $1 million to fall out the sky. And to that point, my next tip would be to stop relying on the manifestation techniques. I hate when someone's like,
oh my God, all you have to do is believe in the goal and visualize it, and it's just gonna come to fruition.
That's delusion. There's no amount of just sitting there and meditating and journaling and affirmations that you do in the mirror. You can't just, I'm gonna be a millionaire. Be so effing for real. And this is coming from someone, I meditate, I pray, I journal, I do all the things. But all of that means nothing if you're not taking the daily action towards your goals. Baby, you need to do the work. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I say this lovingly. There is a balance between receiving and then also giving and putting in that effort. And I'm just gonna be honest. My next tip is what comes up when you are doing the doing and you start to fail. You hit one failure, you hit two. Hell, you may hit 10 or 20. But you cannot view those as failures. You need to view them as feedback. I think the problem is that you've been failing and then you automatically go, oh, I'm not talented enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not adequate. I'm just not enough. But maybe it's a time to sit back and be like, you know what? I'm freaking awesome, but obviously something isn't working. Am I not waking up for the gym on time because I'm not getting enough rest the night before? Do I need to go to bed earlier? Am I still spending so much money on DoorDash because I'm not meal prepping? Maybe I don't feel like cooking every night, and so I need to set a different routine so that I'm not spending $30, $40 every day on DoorDash. That was targeted. If you feel hit, that was an attack on you because you've been eating out too much. You've been spending too much money. Am I always making an impulse buy because I'm scrolling too much on TikTok? Maybe TikTok shop is not a good thing for me right now. Maybe this TikTok ban is exactly what we all need right now because you keep spending $5 here, $6 here, $7 here on TikTok shop. It's adding up. Am I feeling a sense of lack in other places of my life that I'm trying to make up for with shopping? Ooh, that was an attack on myself because y'all know I love to shop. Oh, you didn't hit 10,000 followers on Instagram? Well, why? Maybe if everyone's telling you to post 3 times a day and you have a full-time job, maybe you cannot sustain posting 3 times a day. It wasn't a failure, it's feedback. What are you learning? What is the purpose of all this? What's happening behind the scenes? It's just us getting clear on like what needs to give so that you can establish a sense of consistency and sustainability and maintain the progress that you're making towards your goals. But to that point, it's not all about assessing yourself. It's not all about working towards a goal. Again, there's like a balance that needs to happen. Because while you are working towards your goals, you have to let go. And this is my next tip, let go of that project mentality. It's too many YouTube videos on here telling you that here's what you need to do if you want to be unrecognizable in 2020 XYZ. Do you want to be unrecognizable to yourself? Do you want to forget who you are? You don't need to become unrecognizable. Maybe instead of trying to become unrecognizable this year, the goal is just to simply like explore yourself further and see what areas and aspects of your being you haven't tapped into yet. Maybe it's the season of exploration. And I think to wrap it all up, my final tip is just to be extra present. Like just be here. Woosah. Earlier this week, like maybe it was like Monday, Tuesday, I woke up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. freaking out, like, oh my God, my mind started racing. I gotta accomplish this. I need to do this today. Oh, I'm falling behind in this. Just be easy. Like you're putting so much pressure on yourself that it's literally unproductive. All you're doing is spinning your wheels in your brain and you're not actually doing the work. Like just stop freaking out. You missed the deadline on one goal that you were trying to reach, fine. Figure out what you need to do differently this time. Sometimes you're moving around too much, you're spinning around too much, you're trying to do everything at one time. Just sit and be present and be as you are now. I promise you it's gonna be okay. Your goal on this planet, it's not to check off all the things on the to-do list. It's not to hit XYZ goal. Sometimes you just need to be and exist and be content in who you are. And I think that's something else I learned from like all the traveling that I had been doing. While I love to travel and I love to see the world, I do feel like there's a sense of like running when you're like constantly on the move all the time. When do you get the chance to settle and be comfortable in who you are and where you're at and what you're doing now before you move on to the next thing? Because there's always going to be a next thing. That's really all I wanted to talk about. We can keep this one short and sweet, but I do hope that, you know, as you set your goals for the year, as you work on them, check in with yourself regularly, but also give yourself like so much grace. Find the balance between doing the things you need to do every day. Be patient and give yourself grace and compassion rather than criticize yourself. Like, stop freaking out. Everything is falling into place as it should. You're doing the work and you don't need to stress about it any further. Do what you can. Take it day by day. You're doing amazing. Hopefully I can reassure you of that. If you've made it this far into the video, comment the goals that you're working on and what you're doing every day to remind yourself that you are enough and that you're perfect as you are now. Because life is all about finding that balance. If you want to see more videos, honestly, I have a mix at this point. Like, sometimes I do vlogs of like when I travel, when I shop, when I'm trying new things in the city. Sometimes I post my playlists when I just want to vibe out. And I'm also going to start doing these again. I found myself for a while like listening to a lot of other YouTubers, and sometimes I feel like people go too far left and then too far right, and I feel like there's always a middle ground. Hey, am I your middle ground? I think I can take that on. I like that assignment. I am a Libra moon, so there is an aspect of like finding that balance. So anyways, I hope you find your balance, find your peace, find a good stride this year. I love you. I hope you have a great week. Talk to you later.